Before we get into our presentation today, my name is Emily, for those of you who have not yet met me, and I started the mission of helping people restore and heal themselves through the root source of what all of our health is really stemming from, which is energy. And so we opened the fountain about 2 years ago. It's behind us on West Street, and it really has been a transformative experience. Not only, yes, yep, yeah, we're right here in New Milford. Literally, you can see our building when you pull into the driveway. We're right actually over there. I'm pointing that way, but it's right over there. Yeah. So we have, sure. Do you think I should do the, I'll try to project. Okay. We have a one of a kind technology that we'll be digging into today that helps your body restore and recharge at the cellular level. But first, we're going to talk about the reasons why we're deficient or lacking energy at the root source, which is our cellular health. Um, One of my favorite quotes that kind of is the principle that is behind the technology that we have in our sanctuary is where Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, you must think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. He was the inventor responsible for so many of our modern, what we consider just everyday calling somebody or Wi Fi or wirelessly transmitting information, because he was studying how, at the core basis of life, everything was open, empty space, everything was energy, and that there's a field of energy that connects all life. So, how are we able to transmit information, and how does that information impact life? That was a lot of Nikola Tesla's work. And again, today it's the building blocks for all of the things that we see unfolding in our modern technology around energy. A lot of his work also was suppressed, but a lot of that's coming now back to the light and back into the everyday awareness. So, one of my favorite things when I first started studying more about energy and how it's the basis of our body, what our body manifests, you are open, empty space. I'm sure you all probably heard this before. Everything at the subatomic level, or at the smallest particle size level, which is an atom, is the same. So you're the same, you are comprised of the same atoms as this chair, as a bird, as a tree. At the core level, it's all just the same particle. What makes everything different, the way we perceive a chair or a human or a bird or a plane, what makes it different is the rate at which it's vibrating. So you have over 100 trillion atoms inside every one of your cells. Those atoms are 99.12 nines. I couldn't even fit them all on the screen, but they're 99.99999 open, empty energy. So the energy, the health of the cell is very much determined by the quality of the energy. And your human body has around 37 trillion cells. So this is what makes up our glands, our tissues, our organs, and quite literally how we perceive the manifestation of health inside of our body, how we're able to recover and support ourselves. One of the things that we measure cell health by is the cellular millivoltage. The cellular millivoltage is directly correlated to the ATP. Some of you might have heard a lot of people in the biohacking world talking about cellular ATP. That's adenosine triphosphate. It's a fancy word. I like to use the acronym, but that is the battery power, the charging station for the cell so that they can carry out all of the vital functions, including building muscle, repairing tissues, building bones, detoxifying all the toxicity that's in our world. All of that is directly linked into the cellular millivoltage and the ATP. There are three most common in our modern environment. There are three top antagonists that drain the energy out of our cells. The first is the energetic frequencies that we're exposed to. We're exposed to high levels of unhealthy electromagnetic fields. We are exposed to radiation on a regular basis. And the biggest thing, which we're going to go a little deeper into, is the stress and the energy and motion, emotions. They are one of the most powerful governing factors to the energy of our body and the energy in our cell health. Literally, a lot of disease is rooted in emotional toxicity that gets stuck and trapped in certain organs or in certain parts of our body. The cells can't work and everything starts to break down. The second Really large thing is the chemical toxicity. We're going to go into a little bit more depth about how that has impacted and permeated our country specifically. The US has some very loose regulations on what they allow into our home. All of this is, again, has a very huge impact on the cell health. And then we're going to tie this into how your cell ATP and cell health specifically has a direct correlation to your ability to achieve physical fitness and mental. And you also, it's not just about physical fitness, it's also about emotional, spiritual, mental fitness. We want to have everything on all of the levels of life. We want to have balance in all those areas of life. Another key reason why our bodies are struggling and breaking down so much in our modern environment today is that our soil and our foods are stripped of vital nutrients, specifically minerals. So, to talk first about the emotions, as I mentioned, they are energy and motion. Most people are living in a state of what is called survival, fight or flight. So, in nature, if something is coming out to attack you, you run from it and you get this big dump of adrenaline and cortisol and all these chemicals that alter your state of consciousness from a resting, peaceful state into, I got to get out of here, I got to run, I have superhuman abilities, and I'm going to get away from a predator. And when you run it off, it's wonderful because then your body can return back. You burn through those chemicals and your body returns back into homeostasis. If you notice an animal running from a tiger, within 20 minutes, they're back grazing again once they're out of danger. What's happening in our modern environment, though, is we're exposed continuously to stressors that are triggering that fight or flight reaction. And it takes up to 72 hours for the adrenals to calm down that fight or flight response if we're not running it off instantaneously. So now you're constantly overproducing adrenaline and cortisol. Your body is starting to get addicted to those hormones because it's always in fight or flight. And now you've downregulated all the healthy hormones that keep you energized, and you're constantly addicted to coffee, caffeine, stimulants. You can't get through the day without wanting to take a nap, fall asleep. That's one of the many, many, many side effects or symptoms of being in that chronic fight or flight, emotionally toxic state that is lowering and draining the electromagnetic field of the body. That leads into a little bit about my story. I was raised in a family with very health conscious parents, and chemically I didn't have a lot of exposure. They kept me, sheltered from a lot of chemical exposure because they were aware of a lot of these things. But there were a lot of emotional things that had happened through no fault of my parents, but just sometimes that's how life happens, and we get these really big traumas inside of our body, and our body doesn't know how to process it without support. And by 2020, you can see there, I had been diagnosed with autoimmune Lyme disease, and I had many co-infections. But the real root of what happened and how that person became that person was I had a lot of unhealed traumas that were under the surface that were causing the energy in the body to lower. So I wasn't responding to any physical, conventional, health or nutrition or fasting or any of those things that your body would normally bloom back. My body wasn't responding to it because, again, we had an energetic problem that needed to be addressed. And so this is showing you November 2020. Every single one of my joints had arthritis in it. I was told I would never be able to walk again. I couldn't roll over in bed. My organs started shutting down. I couldn't even receive food. I would be puking. I had a rare type of autoimmune called spondyloarthropathy, where it impacts your spine and your central nervous system. It hurt to breathe. My rib cage everything had arthritis, head to toe. And it wasn't until this is the time period in 2020 where I came across Dr. Joe Dispenza. I came across the energy enhancing light system, and I started the process of transmuting and changing my energy with the help of the technology and the help of certain mental constructs and mental models of how to pull yourself and your vibration up. So truly, anywhere you are right now, I want to just say, look at those pictures, look at that face. It's never too late. You're not too far. The body wants to heal itself. And when we give it that right environment, which again, energy is the foundation of that environment, there is nothing that the body cannot do to repair and restore itself. Chemical toxicity, before I'll just skim through this, you all feel free to take pictures if you want to, review any of this, but there are close to 100,000 endocrine disrupting, highly toxic, highly poisonous chemicals inside of our cleaning products. Our indoor air is anywhere from 7 to 100 times more polluted than the outdoor air quality. So you have the one of the biggest assaults in our everyday home are the Febreze, the scented candles. The biggest one is the laundry detergents. Your skin is your largest organ, and what you put on your skin goes into your bloodstream. What you breathe into your lungs goes directly into your bloodstream. So we are being bombarded with huge amounts of environmental toxicity, from off-gassing to perfumes to fake aromas to the laundry detergent, which has very, very harsh chemicals, and you're spending 24 hours a day typically, excluding showers. You're spending 24 hours a day with that off gassing into the bloodstream. So this starts to accumulate over time. It's called bioaccumulation, and it weighs the body down, it weighs the cells down, and it depletes the vital energy. Another thing is the nutrient, as we already mentioned. These studies were done in 1980, 1997. These numbers have continued to tank since then. The deficiency in the soil because of over farming and not properly replacing the vital nutrients and minerals and oxygen inside the soil. One of the other things that's of key interest in the issue with the soil is that the amount of pesticides that they're spraying. Not only is everything deficient, but it is loaded with pesticides and more of these toxic chemicals that are weighing down and polluting our beautiful temple body. So, how all of this impacts our cells. So, as I already mentioned, it's this dysregulation in our environment from these energetic, chemical, and nutrient deficiencies are impacting that cellular millivoltage. A healthy cell has a charge between 70 and 90 millivolts. I love to use the example of cancer. So in cancer patients, there was a study done, and every single person who had cancer had a cellular millivoltage of 20 or lower. So there is an environment where the body is working and functioning, and it's this beautiful symphony. The DNA is like the conductor of the whole orchestra, and it's instructing all the cells what to do. But the cells and the DNA cannot perform correctly, and everything starts to fire and wire incoherently. And so instead of having this beautiful song and symphony, which is what your body naturally is, everything starts to break down. And then we start to see where cells aren't dying on time. That's what cancer is. It's a cell that didn't die on time. So that's one example of how the body and energy is the basis in which everything else is able to do its job in that symphony correctly. The impact of low energy on DNA. So this is very fascinating, is that all of this, the low energy, the low cellular millivoltage and the low ATP is now being directly linked into damage of DNA. There are genetic mutations that are on the uprise. It's somewhere around 60% of most adults are walking around with genetic mutations that are causing major chemical breakdowns, chain reactions in the body. So you're not able to assimilate certain nutrients, you're not able to methylate certain nutritional products because of this breakdown. Again, the DNA is like the conductor of this beautiful grand symphony. And when it's not able to give the right instructions, everything else goes into distortion or disharmony. DNA is also responsible for the production of proteins, muscle recovery, and bone density. So if you're not able to produce the right proteins, you can be pumping all the iron you want all day long, but you're going to have a lot of lactic acid buildup. You're going to have a very difficult time getting the proper recovery for the time that you're investing in yourself to wake up and utilize your muscles. Another big thing is that with the DNA, it plays a critical role in the production of the bone density, the osteoblast cells that rebuild bone density. You're only able to build as much muscle as your bone is dense, meaning if you have brittle bones and you're not effectively restoring the osteoblast cells in the bones, the muscle cannot build on top of a bone that it'll break. So the body has an innate intelligence and it won't build beyond the bone density. So if you're struggling with that, energy and getting all of these cellular functions back in place are one of the key constituents to you going beyond where you are currently in your fitness regimen. Also, the thing with the hormones, so my father's here, and he started the first website back in 1995 selling bioidentical progesterone. It's the master hormone in women. And it's also a very important hormone for men. So I grew up in the world of hormones and the importance that they play in our body and regulating the entire endocrine system, brain health, nervous system health. So certainly, again, we want to get certain chemicals in our lifestyle correct. But again, going back to, we want to have that proper cellular charge, and we want to get our DNA back in alignment with what it's supposed to do. Your body's not broken. The environment that we live in is causing these breakdowns so that the body's not able to function the way it was always designed. How can the energy enhancing light system help? So on to the good. The good news is you are incredibly resilient. The fact that we even do as well as we do with all that we're facing, the fact that we're even functioning as well as we are, is a testament to how brilliant and beautiful our design is. And the good news is as I showed you in those pictures before, and you can see the transformation in me. By the way, I've had no work done. I've had no injections. I don't even go to a dermatologist. I haven't even gotten a facial since I was a teenager. This is 1000% the transformation that you see from that picture in 2020 to now. I use essential oils, I take a lot of minerals, and I've changed my energy. That is all that I have done. So there's no help with the transformation. This was 100% an inside out job. I only say that because I want to be encouraging that your body wants to heal. It wants to restore. It wants to thrive. When we give it the correct energy, it is incredible what we could witness with our miracle stories. Mine's just one of thousands of other transformation stories that we have around the technology. So the energy enhancing light system, it is generating multiple bioactive fields by colliding photons. A photon is a particle of light. So the light that you perceive is on a certain spectrum. It's very, 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 very tiny. Red to purple, that's like the smallest little spectrum. When they've actually measured, there's a way larger spectrum of light in the universe that we're not able to perceive with our naked eye. Photons are one of those particles of light that we're not able to perceive with the human eye. But with the technology, it's using the collision of photons, very specific sacred geometry with what's on the screens, and restorative affirmations and information. And what happens is when you come into this coherent energy field and you're being given instructions, the body's being given wireless instructions on how to restore, repair, regenerate. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with Dr. Emoto's work. It's made a lot of circulation lately, the water. So just that alone, that's just one of many things happening in the room. But just writing the word hate on water, just writing it on a jar of water, and then they froze it and then looked at the way the formations of the water crystallized. It looked like demons versus you put love and gratitude, and it was these beautiful crystalline formations that were perfectly coherent, perfectly organized. You're a lot of, I think like 70, I hear different things all the time. You're 70+% water. Open, empty energy and water. I know none of it makes any sense. But that's the power that we have when we go into coherent energy. The minute you walk into the energy enhancing light system, the cells instantly become excited and they start to regenerate and recharge themselves back up to that optimal level of 70 to 90 millivolts. So 3 of the primary things, the biophotons are very easily absorbed through the body, and they are what is responsible for allowing the atoms and the cells to recharge and recalibrate themselves to that ideal optimal level of charge. The scrolling screens, I don't have a video, but these screens are scrolling. And again, they contain that geometry that mimics the DNA, and it's instructing the DNA to repair itself. In clinical studies, we have seen over and over and over again the human body repairing and restoring the DNA after spending time in the energy enhancement system. And then also, as I'm sure many of you know, you have a primary 7 energy centers or chakras. I call them energy centers because I'm more on the sciencey mindset. But with those primary 7 energy centers, there are colors associated with each one. Color is also, it's a frequency. And the screens are also emitting chromotherapy, the colors that correspond to the 7 energy centers, which are helping activate and awaken them. And in different types of, do you remember the type of photography where the centers were all over the place, and then after a 2-hour session, they came in and they had all of the energy centers were rebalanced? Was it Carillion? Something. They did, it's amazing. It's Carillion Photography. They've done many, yeah, I think so. Yes, I think you're correct. But within a matter of one session, your energy, and if again, if our energy is over here and over here, it's incoherent, it's dysregulated. Within one session, all of the energy centers are realigned, open, activated. Also, with this is some clinical research I just wanted to throw in here. If you look at the blood, the live blood on the left, this was after a 2-hour session. Dr. Vega did live blood analysis. So the blood on the left is sticky and clumpy. I wrote down, this is indicative, sticky, clumpy blood, which is pretty much what almost everyone who gets a live blood analysis nowadays, it looks like the ones on the left. It's a sign of low pH, which is hydrogen potential. It also linked into low oxygen, nutrient deficiencies, EMF exposure, toxic overload, chronic stress, inflammation, and free radical damage. So we already know where that's all coming from. This is the result of what it looks like. This is after 1 2-hour session. You can see the blood platelets, they're supposed to be circles. They're supposed to be round, clear, and healthy. The doctor did find that the blood was more fluid and that there was a release of toxins into the blood. Within a few days, those toxins dissipated because the body, when it has the charge in the cell, the first thing it wants to do is go and discharge all that bioaccumulation and debris and garbage that didn't have the energy to previously. So the body has an innate intelligence and it's always going to do what is the top priority. So if your body is overflooded with all these chemicals, but it has all these important tasks to perform for the vital organs, it's going to just pack away those chemicals as far away as it can from the vital organs. It's going to push them down into the limbs and into fat tissue because it doesn't have the energy to carry it out and do the whole process of detoxification, but it wants to get it away from the organs. So a lot of times if you have excess weight, it's really just excess waste. I'm still dropping, I'm still getting rid of it, but I had excess weight on my stomach and my middle that just would not go away at all until I got into the realm of energy and detoxifying properly. It just started to melt off. I didn't change my lifestyle. I didn't change my diet. It wasn't a dietary issue. It was an energetic issue and getting more energy back into the cells. Now you start to clean house and everything starts to go into, again, harmony, order, resonance with that higher energy. One of the interesting studies I threw at the bottom, Dr. Jenny Shu, she's a fellow system owner. She did a whole clinical study that she did a big lecture about a month ago and shared all of her findings with lots of things. But one of the ones I thought was so fascinating is that she did a biological age analysis on herself. She's in her 50s. She went from 53 to biologically, her DNA went back to that of a 38-year-old in 3 months of being inside the system. So the biological age is how long you can live. It's part of the DNA strand. It's the end of the DNA strand. And every time your cell splits and replicates, it gets a little bit shorter. So if you ever hear anyone talking about biological age, it's linked into your DNA. And that telomere lengthening is literally giving you more years of life. So this is true age reversal, restoring the energy back into the cell, back into the body. These are also just some very highly documented benefits that we commonly see in people. It's been clinically researched, and there's a lot of anecdotal data where people have their testimonies about eyesight returning or tumor shrinking or, Lyme disease disappearing. We've literally seen anything and everything reverse when the body is treated correctly and put into the correct environment. So yeah, those are just a list of everything if anyone wants to take a picture. So if you want to come share your story about how this has improved your post gym workout sessions and your ability to build muscle. This is Jeremiah. He loves the gym. Come over here so you're in the camera.
Yeah, so I've always been into health and fitness, but I've kind of, as we all typically do, there's kind of ebbs and flows with getting into a routine, maybe getting out of a routine. And at the beginning of last year, I had been so consumed with my work that I kind of let my fitness health routine go a little bit, and I put on probably 40 pounds that I didn't want to have. But I was was living out west, and I finally came back east and started helping Emily run the fountain. So I had the opportunity to get lots of system time, and I said, you know what, it's time to reset myself. So I started working out
There he is.
gym every single day.
That's his before. No, you sent that to me. That's his before.
Yeah, that's January 1st, 2024.
It's a year ago.
And I was
It's a big
not
transformation.
happy with myself. And yeah, I was probably getting a 2-hour session maybe four days a week, and I was going after the gym, and I was going to the gym for about 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, lifting weights.
There's
So
the
this is
after.
cardio, and that was,
Is that
I think,
3 months later?
that's like 3 to 4
It was not
months
much.
later. I dropped 43 pounds. I was having a really hard time getting myself sore. Like I don't have enough time to work out more or harder. So it's truly incredible when you utilize such wonderful technologies as this that really address that core fundamental pillar of what health is, which is our body needs the energy to function as brilliantly designed. And as Emily said before, we're just bombarded with all sorts of environmental toxins, whether it's the chemical toxins in the personal care and the cleaning products, the electrical toxins from the Wi-Fi and the 5G and the satellites that are invisible to our eyes, but are having a negative effect on the energy of our body. And our body, as she said, is nothing but energy. Or the stressors of work and the people cutting you off and the boss yelling at you, right? This is all just lowering down and stressing down our body. So this is a beautiful way to just really address that core pillar, which is our cells they're little batteries. And just like we need to charge our cell phone for it to work, our cells need that charge. And this is the most powerful, effective way. And I've always been looking for what are the best kind of like biohacking solutions that we can all utilize to have the most bang for our buck. Because if you go on Google and you go, oh, health technologies, or what supplements should I take? You're going to find hundreds or thousands of technologies. You're going to find tens of thousands of supplements and products. And it's like, we don't have enough time in a day to be doing all of these things or, taking all these pills or whatever. But if we go down to that core pillar of what does it really take, it is the cellular energy, because that will ripple out to everything else and allow the body to function how it's supposed to function. We're supposed to wake up feeling good, having energy. We're supposed to go to bed ready for bed and just be able to fall asleep and wake up with that energy and be able to function and thrive. There's this new normal in the world where it's like, my body, it's normal for it to hurt. My head's cloudy. Well, that's just normal because everyone else's head is cloudy. Oh, I don't feel well most of the time. And we get used to not feeling well most of the time, and we think like that's normal. But it doesn't have to be normal, because when we provide our body with that core fundamental pillar of energy, the body, as it's brilliantly designed, will get back to that homeostasis level and start functioning so that we can be thriving and have that beautiful amount of energy so that we can be living out what our purpose is and what our mission is in our life. We can, do beautiful things in the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so that brings us to the physical 3-dimensional fundamental piece of this, which is the importance of minerals along with the energy enhancing light system. It is very important that even if I never see you again and all you take away from this is to start consciously restoring minerals back into your diet, I will feel that my job is complete. Minerals are that spark plug inside the cell, just like the ATP. They're a part of what fires and wires and triggers, and it's the carrier of the cell and all the instructions that it has. So once we bring the energy up, we want to keep the energy up by putting those beautiful spark plugs back into the body. This is just a couple of the things that minerals support, but really they support everything. One of the most important minerals to be on, I'm sure most of you know this, is magnesium. Most magnesium, though, does not assimilate orally through the stomach. We're taking things out of nature and we're putting them in a single form where perhaps if we were eating it in the food, it has all of these other cofactors and all of these other nutrients that it goes along with it that allow it to be absorbed. So we're extracting things out of their natural form and then we're taking them at a dose that it just isn't going to get into the cell. One of the best ways to get magnesium is through the skin, unless you're taking all 7 types of magnesium or eating it in a raw superfood like raw cacao. It's really rich in chia seeds. It's rich in pumpkin seeds, watermelon. There are many foods that are rich in minerals. And it's best to get them from as many food sources as possible. I like the superfoods because typically they come from parts of the world where the farming practices are not quite the way they are here and in other areas that we get food from. So we sell a lot of those things at the fountain, or we have documents that recommend ways to start bringing more of those superfoods into your everyday life. Magnesium is critical for over 300 cellular processes and functions. So very, very important to be consciously getting magnesium back in through the diet and through the skin. Even like at the bottom there, it's saying that the things like muscle cramps. So when you're working out, you feel those muscle cramps, or you're having difficulty sleeping, or you wake up with Charlie horses, or you feel fidgety and restless at night and you have difficulty sleeping. Those are all very, very, very conventional signs of low magnesium. I just started in the last 3 months implementing these Dead Sea 22 mineral baths. So not only when you get the cellular energy up, we mentioned that the body wants to start detoxifying. The first thing the body does when it gets the charge, most people when they come to our center, they use the restroom a little bit extra and they're more thirsty because that's the body saying, give me more water. We're going to start flushing and the kidneys start releasing and inflammation starts coming out. And it's a beautiful thing. But we also recommend always with all of your sessions, and again, even if I never see you and you just do this, this is a very, very valuable thing to add to your life. The Dead Sea salts, we sell packages of pre-made mineral baths, and the Dead Sea salt has 20 minerals that are listed on the side. Those are just a few of the things that those 20 minerals are good for. And then we also add 2 cups of pure Dead Sea magnesium. And we also add a cup of pure boron. Very, very, very essential at helping the body mitigate harmful radiation and building up that bone density. And it's been stripped out of our foods. So it's a very important thing to be replacing. It's a wonderful way to get it in through the skin. Sure, yeah, you have a question.
So are you saying that you use your formula and take a bath in it?
Yep.
Suppose you hate baths and only like showers.
Well, sometimes when we do something we don't like and it leads to a feeling that is really, really positive, we rewire ourselves to enjoying the thing that we didn't like because the after effects of it are so pleasurable that it's worth it. That's what I'd recommend. Trying it, experiencing what it feels like after, experiencing how well you sleep. Sometimes when I first started doing these mineral baths, believe it or not, I was more tired at first, but I knew I felt good. I felt better. I felt a general sense of well-being, but my body wanted to start sleeping more because it was repairing, restoring, naturally detoxifying. Magnesium, when it goes in through the skin, it goes and helps the liver produce glutathione. Glutathione is the master antioxidant in the human body. If you eat a raspberry and it has one antioxidant can go and address one free radical or one toxin. Glutathione can address up to 1 million. One glutathione antioxidant molecule can address up to 1 million other toxins or oxidative stress or cancer cells that haven't died on time. So one piece of glutathione is far more potent and powerful at detoxifying us than all the foods in the world. And I'm not saying not to eat, healthy foods that are full of antioxidants, but if we can do something that's going to give us a much greater return, that hour-long bath, flooding the body with all these minerals, and then it triggers all of these other processes, including increasing the elimination, the colon. This is very vital. Magnesium is very, very vital for elimination and colon health and gut health. So, yep. It's triggered The magnesium helps the liver produce the glutathione and detoxify. Yes, it's triggered. Magnesium is responsible for, like the other slide, over 300 different cellular metabolic processes. It's vital in all of those processes, and it's one of the minerals that we are the most efficient in addition to salt, in addition to potassium, and even the boron. It's such a big deal. In this bath, you're getting all of those plus everything else you see.
How long are the bath?
I minimum 1 hour. Yeah,
Hour?
minimum 1 hour.
I
I would suggest get a really beautiful like beeswax candle, put on some gorgeous music, get one of those little tray things you can like watch a show or read a book. Make it a sacred time to unplug. You're worth taking that time. You are worth investing in yourself and doing things like this. And I'm not trying to put my blueprint on anyone else. I like to just share the facts of what I've seen work and what I've seen transform from the person you saw in 2020 to now. This has been one of the biggest quintessentials is, again, the energy enhancing light system mixed with these minerals. It is a very powerful, very, very beautiful process.
Your bath water turns cold.
You just crank up the heat midway through, give a little heat. It just, maybe like keep it on for a minute or two. The hot water to recharge the heat. It stays hot for like another 30 minutes. You're good to go. Yeah.
And how often do you?
Once a week. I would suggest, I do 2 a week, but just start with one bath once a week, 1 hour of your time. Make it a beautiful experience. Make it feel luxurious. You're investing in yourself. Remember, you're not doing this for me. You're doing this for you. And see how you feel. See how you sleep. See if you're not a little sleepy at first. Again, that means your immune system is wanting to go work on repair and restoration. It's not a bad thing if you feel kind of like you want to rest a little bit more initially. It's part of the process. Okay. So these are the basic fundamentals of what we recommend at the fountain. 2 hours inside the technology, once a week minimum. The one mineral bath, 1 to 2 1 to 2 hours post therapy, just 1 hour for you. Spending time every day. Again, we want to help you come in for 2 hours. We want to help you make transitions in your everyday life that are going to keep that charge and that energy going. So we recommend that you spend time touching the earth every day. No rubber. So sit your bottom down if it's cold and you don't want to take off your shoes. Hug a tree. Spend 10 minutes or more connecting to the earth every day. In the summertime, it's so easy. Go outside, just put your feet on the ground for 30 minutes. Meditation, taking even, again, 10 minutes to yourself every day. Just unplugging all the chaos, put on a little music, close the eyes, tune into your breath. Your heart contains some of the most powerful healing restorative frequencies. The technology is helping switch on, but it's ultimately you. The technology is not healing you. The mineral bath is not healing you. All of these things are switching on this self-healing, and we want to get your energy built up. So just like it takes time to build your muscle fiber here at the gym, it takes time to build our energy. So sessions and time in the system and doing this, it's cumulative. So now if I don't do it for a week, I don't suffer. But maybe if I didn't do it for the first week in the beginning, I did. It's very much similar to how we build muscle fiber to build this energetic field. Yes. Sure. Yeah, go right ahead.
It was about how many times a week? Yep. And we don't have the answer.
Longer is better. The more time you have in coherent energy, the more time your body's going to go and acclimate and recharge and restore. So longer is better. The minimum we recommend, and this is from the inventor, the minimum we recommend is the 2 hours once a week. Your cells they have a crystalline structure. They hold the charge for about a week in our modern environment. Again, these suggestions are going to help you hold that charge longer and grow your energy faster. And then, like I already mentioned before, adding those superfoods. We give you all a document when you leave that just has suggestions on things like, again, grabbing chia seeds every week and different foods that have those richer, more nutrient-dense, mineral-dense ingredients in them. So this brings us to the conclusion. And again, any questions or anything, I would love to open up the floor to anyone who has questions. Sure.
Do you have an opinion on the grounding mats? Like, if you're not outside grounding yourself?
So the pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, there is a very wide range of what that covers. I have found people that I trust to explain to me that some of them are not really harmonious with our energy. You have to be careful with who's making it. While other PEMF or grounding mats, they are putting out a helpful, beneficial energy field. I don't have recommendations outside of the Beamer. That's the only one that I know of. That's a really quality. It's got, again, like 2 decades of research, and it was made in Germany, and it's a very well documented, well established frequency that they're putting out. But yes, to answer your question, yes, there are benefits and there are good grounding mats, but I would say very, very, very much do your research and make sure that you know where you're getting it from, because they're not all equal and they are not all good. Some of them do have not good frequencies that they've produced. So, yes.
Crazy question, but are there any alternatives to baths? If somebody only has a shower?
Um,
You could do
the foot,
so.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so if you just
I would-
have a shower
3 to 4 foot soaks a week. I would do more.
using, get a tall, brand new garbage can, or anything you could put your foot in, but ideally as high up the leg as possible. And because at the bottoms of our feet are the largest pores, and as she said before, what you put on your skin goes in. So it's the easiest place to absorb nutrients or minerals from the mineral bath. So even just getting your feet in that mineral solution will be very beneficial. Of course, getting your whole body in it is more beneficial, but if you don't have a bath, that's a great alternative.
Yeah, and you can even
maybe do it twice a week.
Multi-
or once
yeah,
a week,
we would do it
since
more
it's
times.
less,
Right.
exposure.
Would it be the same concentration though, or?
I would probably use that.
No, yeah, we would cut the concentration down, have you do it a little more frequently, and you can even kind of splash it up on your joints. You know what I mean? You can even kind of get it on your skin while you're doing the soak and get it in as many places as possible. There are also mineral lotions. My favorite one, they're back ordered again, so I don't have them in stock, but I also put on mineral lotions. And I'm not talking about petroleum crude oil mineral. That's also what they call that in the petrochemical world, but real minerals. No petroleum, no crude oil, real minerals inside your lotions.
I was gonna ask that question, but not lotion, like, I was thinking, is there a body, like you get out of the shower, put oil on, an oil that has magnesium in it, because your body's all, like, your pores are nice and open.
Yep, it's wonderful to spray the magnesium sprays on. It's not going to do what the bath is doing, but yes, I tell everybody, keep taking your magnesium. Just keep taking it because it's helping cleanse the bowels. So even if you're not assimilating all of it,
There's so many different kinds.
right? That's the open-ended. Like, I have suggestions on what I would recommend, but if you're taking a product and you like it, I don't recommend not taking it. It's doing the mineral bath in addition to doing the foot soaks, in addition to adding the mineral lotions, adding the mineral oils. I do it all. I hit it from all the angles. Because again, if you look back in our ancient world, in our normal world, our normal life, we were walking with our feet on the ground for 30 plus miles a day. That's getting that electrical conductivity from the earth's Schumann resonance. So we're getting the energetic charge, and we're getting the minerals. Our water was full of minerals. Our foods were full of minerals. And back in the ancient times, I'm sure many of you have heard this, they would bring the sick and unwell to the Dead Sea because it had healing properties. In reality, what are those? They're earthing. They're connected to the earth because they're in the ocean. They're getting vitamin D, and they're getting a plethora of minerals. So I try to, again, we're trying to recreate in this modern toxic environment as many of those natural, holistic, God-given, creator-given, original design, just bringing us back into that harmony the way we are always supposed to be living. Today, for anyone who has attended, and even anyone in your world, we'll offer this to anybody. There is a buy one, receive one on your hours. So if you, till tonight at midnight, this offer is good. If you all would like to reserve a 2-hour session, we would love to gift you one of those 2 hours to come in. You're welcome to buy as many sessions as you want. If you're like, want to buy 4 sessions and come every day every week this month, you're welcome to. There's no limit on, how many of these the QR code, if you go to the site, there's no limit on how many of these you can reserve. You're free to bring family and offer them the same special. But we would love to have you come in and experience the technology. And again, we sell the bath mixtures there. Yep.
So if we were to come for a 2-hour session, are we sitting in a chair with a bunch of people at the same time? Is it in a room like this?
Yep, that is the room. Yep, that's the room. That is the technology. As you can see, the different colors. They're in 4 corners, so it's creating a beautiful torsion field, a beautiful energetic, coherent energy field. They're all lined up over the same center point where you see the pyramid in the middle. all of the screens are lined up over that same center point. And again, it's that photon collision and all of the information that is coming through the screens that is instructing the body and recharging and replenishing. No. No.
Multiple people sitting in the room.
Yeah, you can see there's beds. You can see people are laying down. It's a big open. It's a very high ceilings, big open space. We have everybody. It's bigger than this. We have everybody arrive at the same time as if you're coming in for a yoga class. We have everyone settle in because we go to quiet time. Your deepest states of restoration and healing take place when you're in theta, which is the state right before sleep, or delta, which is the state of sleep. So we create a very quiet, we call it quiet sanctuary time, a very quiet, calm environment. We ask that no one talk. We ask everyone stay in their seat. Of course, if you're uncomfortable and you need to move, I'm not saying not to move, but we just create a very calm, quiet environment where everybody goes into that deep restoration. Typically, people pass out as soon as they go in the energy because your body's like, oh my gosh, I have to repair and restore. Please get out of the way. Time to sleep. Bye.
If you're sleeping, are you getting the benefits of the
10 times more.
So,
You're getting way more benefits when you're sleeping.
going back to the cell phone analogy of you charge your phone and our cells need to charge as well. What's the fastest way to charge your phone?
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
so you don't have to be seeing
No.
the screens?
Nope. Nope.
Most effective way to get the benefits and recharge is while you're at least in a very restful state, but ideally, you drift off.
Emily, excuse me, I have to go back and wake some people up.
Yeah.
So, thank you for this. Good job. See you all out one day soon.
Thanks, Dad. Use the chimes, the little chimes. 78. Use the chimes to wake everybody up. It's very pleasant. Yes.
So using the technology, I would think that if you're in there, it would produce a detoxification of
Yep.
emotions that you might cry or laugh. Am I
So
correct?
yes and no. Yes, so energy, emotion is typically trapped in the cell, and the cell holds the memory of certain things. But let me think of how to say this. If you're really, really constipated, does it feel worse holding on to the constipation, or does it feel worse when you're just letting it go? So yes, there can be an emotional detoxification process, but it's not the same way that it was when you experienced it. A lot of times people walk in there, and this happens maybe to 1 out of every 20. They walk in and they're like, oh, I just want to cry. It's not like a big breakdown. I'm re-experiencing the whole trauma type thing. It's just this gentle release, and it's like we say, let it flow, let it go. I've never had anyone go into any kind of like crazy emotional release, but very much so, yes. And that's a beautiful thing when that happens. It's a safe, sacred space for that to happen. It's a real, yeah.
Can you
But yes.
anticipate that you will have
No.
a release of trauma? Not that you might cry, but I mean internally that trauma is.
It is happening. Yes, it's happening on a cellular level, whether you experience it or
You don't
not.
experience it.
Correct. It is happening on a cellular level. As the body, again, gets that charge, it starts to discharge and release everything that it didn't have the energy to previously. That includes physical toxicity, that includes emotional memory, and everything else.
I've had experiences a couple times in the system where it just feels like there's just like wave of emotion. It's just like, whoa, and maybe I'll just shed a tear and it just like
And it's gone.
melts away. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I feel like I can breathe.
It is the most pleasant way
It's wonderful.
to release if you do experience the release, and you may not ever experience any of the release. Some people just walk in, they just feel grateful, or they just feel like I'm sleepy and I'm ready to just go to sleep. Both sides of the brain hemisphere within 10 minutes, according to brain scans, go into balance. The parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calming part of your nervous system, switches on. And that's why it's so simple. I have people come in, they're like, I could never sleep in a public spot. And like within 5 minutes, you hear like them snoring. I'm like, oh, got another one. Love it. but yeah, so that's a great question. And you?
So you talked before at the beginning about light, some kind of light therapy. Can you expand on that? I don't understand what it is.
So as you see on the screens, there, as you can see right here, there are photons, there are particles of light that you're not able to perceive that are coming out of the screens. And they're all laser aligned. There's 4 of those in all 4 corners. So you're only seeing 2 of them because you're seeing half of the room. But those photons are all lined up and they're colliding, and they're creating what's known as a torsion field or a toroidal field. that is the whole room is flooded with that field of energy and information. So you're not able to perceive the photons, but they've measured it through different devices that have measured the effects of the torsion field that's created from the technology in the four corners.
Can you sense it?
I've only ever had one person one time at the very beginning who came in and did a 2-hour session and said she did not feel anything. But feeling it is not the measure of it working. It has nothing to do with, just like you could be releasing emotion and never experience it. The feeling is not the measurement of effect, but yes, almost everybody other than one person that I've ever heard of does feel it.
It depends on how tuned in
You are energetically.
you are. It's like if you become really still, can you feel your heartbeat? That's
Right.
one example of
It's all part of it.
Body. Like when I walk in, I'll feel tingling.
And the more you come, typically the more you feel it.
If I get really still, I'll feel like this energy pulsing in
Yeah.
my feet and hands. It's lovely.
Most people feel it feels almost like a gentle ocean, kind of just kind of moving over you if you're sensitive that way. Mm-hmm.
So is this a lifetime commitment or how do you look at that?
I think that investing in bringing our energy back online as the foundation of everything else we do in life is, until we build a world where we don't have to do this, yes. So my mission with this is, because this is just one piece of many, many things that are to come in this world to bring us back into order and back into that energetic wholeness. We will need to do this until we build a world where we no longer need to do this. So yes.
As a new person to it, like me, I come to the gym and I swim. I swim twice a week. That's
Yep.
all I do here, swim.
Wonderful.
And
Yeah,
then,
great.
What?
Is it wonderful?
It is
It's one of the best
wonderful.
things
It
you can
really
do
is.
for physical
Yeah.
health.
So what kind of dollars are we talking about? Can you discuss that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I should have actually put that on this page. I'm glad you asked that. The standard rate is $60 an hour. And if what we recommend, well, you guys have the special offer now, so it would be $60 for the 2 hours. And then if you decide you want to keep coming, what we recommend is that you get a bundle of hours, which take it down from 60 to 50, 45 or 40, depending on how many you buy. And it's the easiest process. And you just check out with your email and it takes it out of your wallet. And that's what I recommend for everybody. If you come in and with this, you guys already have the special offer, but say someone else wanted to come in, we have them pay in person. And if they want to apply their first session to that bundle because they decide they want to come back, we are happy to do that as well.
And so, of course, insurance doesn't recognize any of this kind of thing.
Not yet, but it is heading that way. There are people that are working towards that. Yes. Yes.
There's some hope with that.
There is some hope with that.
Well, that's
Because
interesting.
there is enough clinical data on this. There is enough research on this particular technology that is showing that this is the preventative measure to get off all of, instead of doing the sick care, we're trying to elevate people into wellness. So that is a much healthier, for the insurance companies, that's a much better client to have than the other model of reality. Which country started? Yes, this is.
This is the first sort of center that does this, I guess.
No, this has been around for more than 20 years. The original coder and coding, the person who invented it, started the invention back in the 80s. And it's been developed over time to what it is now. And it was actually based on Dr. Emoto's work to bathe the body in coherent energy and information and to use certain types of geometry and Fibonacci to activate that mathematics in the DNA helix.
Earlier on, you were talking to me about measuring the cells and how cancer cells have this like 20 to 30%, whatever, I can't remember the numbers.
The millivoltage of the cell.
But are you able to, how do you measure those cells? And is that something that is part of this process?
I don't have the device that measures it, but it has been done in clinical research. So I don't.
So you can't
have.
see like a before and after, like how.
There are certain centers that have different types of measuring devices, like the Carillion photography, or there's one thing that's called the BioWell that measures all the energy centers and where the body's at, where the aura is.
Yeah,
They do all those kinds of things.
That's not something that is part of.
Yes, no, it's not part of it. But with all the data that we've seen, it's across the board. The results are pretty much the same with a certain amount of exposure. Everybody eventually achieves, especially with the addition of the minerals into the diet and the lifestyle. These slow shifts. It's not about becoming a Buddhist monk and living a very, austere, difficult life. It's about really just getting rid of all the toxic garbage and bringing us back into the real version of ourselves. We want to remove all the stuff that's keeping you locked into a version of you that's not you.